Hey, FlimsyLunchTray here, and welcome to our Tuesday video today, which is going to be World of Warships and a sweaty match where we are going to be pushing Stalingrad to her limits, and you're just going to see why this is such a very powerful steel ship in the game. She's gone through a little bit of some changes in the game that have not been in her favor. Mainly due to the fact that you used to be able to take fire prevention on cruisers, but they changed that in the 10.0 commander rework because Stalingrad burns for full duration fires, unlike most cruisers in the game. So those are 60-second fires. So with the HE spam in the game, she has suffered a little bit from that, but all in all, she's my most played steel ship in the game. I recommend her first and foremost if you're looking to pick up a steel ship in the game, and that's mainly due to these amazing 305mm guns. These 305mm guns, AP shells are just fantastic in terms of the damage that they do, which is 9,200. And then for the fact that they have improved auto bounce angles and reduced shell arming time. And so with these 305mm guns, I mean, you can Citadel a British light cruiser from any angle. The improved auto bounce angles is similar to like the American heavy cruisers like Des Moines and that, so you can get away a lot with that. And just having that reduced shell arming time means you're not as apt to overpin targets as much. And it really comes down to these three turrets in the ABX format that make this ship amazing, on top of the fact that she has a very strong armor scheme that we are going to be pushing really hard towards the latter half of this battle, and we'll talk a little bit more about that when the time comes. So you're going to be seeing us put Stalingrad through the ropes in terms of her tankiness, but also her survivability. So this is a tier 10 cruiser with what we have at 72,450 hit points. So that's just phenomenal. Now, when we're talking about the survivability here, there is something actually I am missing out on. We could increase the health hit point pool here on Stalingrad. If we decided to take Survivability Expert, we'd actually pump that up to 76,950. And I can't fully remember the build that I have on Stalingrad, but I've already done a video on it and stuff. And I might be relooking a bit at that commander build, but I have videos up on it and I'll link them at the end of this video here. So the fact that you have such a massive health pool for a tier 10 cruiser with an amazing armor scheme, with amazing guns, just means you're able to do amazing things with this ship. Now, I said she has suffered a bit from the HE spam in the game and not being able to have fire prevention on cruisers anymore. You know, fire prevention, what that skill does is reduce your chances of catching fire by -10%, and then instead of having 4 fires possible on your ship, you only could have 3, so only 1 on the superstructure. But with that commander rework, you know, it's 2 fires. So you saw Stalingrad not being used quite as much in the competitive meta scene, but that doesn't mean that she's by any means a slouch when it comes to that. Okay, so we're almost 5 minutes into the game, trying to help our team out, our sub and destroyer out with that destroyer, the Havarask, over on the 1 line. Now, he's a pretty large destroyer, almost the extent of being a cruiser, so it's not too difficult to land shells on, especially with our shell velocity and travel time. Means that you don't have to lead its targets as much as something like you would on a Des Moines, as an example. So we're able to help get this Havarask down, because I am concerned about the flank. One of the things you have to watch here on Stalingrad is her broadside. You do not show broadside unless you really have to, especially if there's other large battlecruisers, battleships into the game, just because she does have a vulnerable citadel that can be punished. So a lot of the times, either you're going to be bow in with Stalingrad, or you're going to be in a kiting away position. Now, when you're dealing with carriers, and they're focusing your flank, now we've been pretty lucky that the carrier on the enemy team has not really been focusing this flank so much. You want to get in a kiting position like I am now. Now, the reason why I pulled out and did this maneuver here is I was concerned that the Napoli on the enemy team was going to rush up the 3 line, and we wouldn't be able to deny him torping us with his torpedoes and being aware of that ship. The other reason too is we have the Bourgogne is trying to push up the 1 line. So we do not want to get a battleship on our broadside there. So we want to be able to create some distance. So that's one of the things you're watching. You're watching on how is the enemy team reacting. Are they trying to push up on your flank? And is the sides, are you starting to become vulnerable in that sense? So it's knowing the limits of Stalingrad. And that's the limit of Stalingrad, is you just don't want to, it's not as trollish armor scheme as like a Petropavlovsk, right? Petropavlovsk is pretty hard to citadel, where Stalingrad is much easier to citadel. So already we've taken over 1.1 million potential damage, and that number is just going to keep climbing. So we're having to take our time here in trying to help. Most of the time you're going to be firing armor piercing here with these 5mm guns. The high explosive does a burn probability of 33%, and you're not firing it often in reality, just because the armor piercing is so good. Now, when you get the chance between these, particularly this submarine who's been repeatedly spotted, then I want to see, yeah, let me switch over to high explosive, maybe even get a fire set and permanently knock out this submarine. So I don't know, he's still got a lot of dive capacity, so he just doesn't seem to be maybe not so much a skilled sub player. So we're going to pick up the kill there. Then, you know, easily at this point we could switch back to armor piercing, which we are going to do now. And the Napoli has decided to make his move. He's going to push up on our Yamato. So I go ahead, even though I don't have my guns on target yet to help Yamato, I am going to go ahead and pop my radar. So he has clear line of sight. Now he looks like he went for the Citadel there, but he had one salvo go pretty low, and that Napoli is making sure that he's getting all of his torpedoes off there. So a bit unfortunate for Yamato to be caught out there. That's one of the reasons why I didn't feel comfortable continuing to sit where I was there at the DF 3-4 line. So we also have a, was that a Kalembo with us? And he's got his smoke going, but he's also detected because he fired his main battery guns. So we're a bit on the back foot here, so we're gonna have to back off here. I could go ahead and use my next heal. I should probably be popping it a bit sooner than what I do end up popping here. But we are getting our guns turned around. Almost get the Napoli in there. And with having that improved auto bounce, you know, I think that's what helped our rear turret actually get some decent damage in there. That otherwise we wouldn't from that rear turret. So now, almost 1.9, or now we actually did just cross 2 million potential damage. And this is where you're going to see one of the Stalingrad strengths really begin to shine here. Okay, so we just took a really big hit there. And that is we're dealing with several battleships. We're dealing with the Yamato with the 18-inch shells. We're dealing with Incomparable with 510mm guns. You have Preußen's is way back there. We were also trying to maneuver away here from the shells of torpedoes of Napoli. And we also have a Slava, right? And the Slava has, I think, 406mm. You know what, we're going to look at that while we're talking here because I don't want to give wrong information. Slava has, yeah, 406, but insane dispersion, right? So we want to respect Slava. So in most other cruisers in the game, what I do here, I wouldn't be able to pull off with other ships. Now, one of the downsides in terms of not having good maneuverability with Stalingrad is that she also has terrible concealment. So a lot of tier 10 battleships in the game have better concealment than what Stalingrad has. So that's just something that you have to be mindful of. Now you can actually see that with our skill set right now, and this is kind of the reasons why I'm talking, I want to revisit my commander build. Not only do we have priority target, but we also have incoming fire alerts. Typically, you don't necessarily need both. It's better to just have one or the other. So that's something that I'm just going to have to look at my build again and see if I want to revisit what I have right now. I think I feel pretty comfortable with most everything on here, but as time progresses in the game, I learn new things. I want to try to stretch myself, and so I think having both priority target and incoming fire alert, that's just two skills not needed back to back to have, as one or the other is better. Now, we're continuing to have to angle our armor here. We're playing with our WS key, accelerating, deaccelerating, right? We have pretty strong deck armor as well, that helps us, but when you're dealing with you know, Slava, Incomparable, Yamato, Bourgogne, you know, all of them are taking pot shots at us, which is unfortunately really pushing us back. And I wish it didn't have to be this far back, you know, already into the B line. Unfortunately, our CV has suffering from map awareness. I don't know why CV players suffer from map awareness. They do. It's a common side effect. Most all don't pay attention to their minimap. And he's just sitting out in the open for Slava to be able to start punishing here. Now, unfortunately, our Colombo is really unhealthy. And so there's not much he's going to be able to do to stop Slava from pushing in. Now, with having such a small health pool, we're utilizing the corner of this island. The other battleships are too far away to spot us. So we can get some shots into the Slava here. And you saw 5 pins, 1 overpin. Now we're going to pop our last heal. And the Colombo unfortunately has gone down. I think his smoke was getting close to coming off cooldown, so he just wasn't able to go dark to try to maybe go in for that ram there on Slava. And now it's us to have to deal with the enemy Slava. We do have our Bilal helping us, which is great, to deal with trying to... We want to keep our CV alive, because this is becoming a points game at this point. Slava is stopping our points. This has been a very close match, really enjoyable. Now, I did switch to high explosive because Slava was more turned into us, but then he turned back out. So probably would have been best to just stick with the AP there. You don't use our, high explosive so much on Stalingrad, mostly the AP, but you have seen us trying to make some use of it. And I'm not saying you never use the high explosive. You definitely do at certain points. It just varies. Now, with the island between us and Slava, we're going to reposition here, and we're going to try to get closer, and we're going to still use the lower part on the left side of this island to get shots in here on the Slava. Now, fortunately for us, CVs are overpowered, and being Baon like he is, enemy team is having a difficult time putting in shots in on our CV. If he was broadside, it'd be a much more different story. So between us sitting here, CV focusing, he's also getting some support. Our Conqueror on our team is helping out here. Bilal is helping out. Slava's essentially, he's pushed into a massive crossfire from multiple different directions. Now, I need to say that the division, the TNG3 division, are going to be instrumental in helping win the flank that they did. You can see there was a lot of death on that 9-10 line. So our CV is, I think he's permanently dark now, but he is really low. So we need to move back up. Again, we're conscious of the fact that we don't have any heals left. We've reached 3.1 million potential damage already. Again, between the amazing guns and between this armor scheme, hit point pool, there's just a lot you can get away with when you're dealing with these big gun engagements, right? We've had to deal with Slava, Bourgogne, Preußen, well, maybe not Preußen, Incomparable, Yamato, right? So we're taking our time here. We're filling things out. We have almost 100 points lead, so no one needs to do anything rash. Trying to see if Yamato will come into our firing range here, which she's just beginning to. We just need to take our time here. I don't need to go rushing in right now. It'll be a little difficult for me in the situation with how things are. So we have a destroyer, Shimakaze, who's feeling a bit bold. I think he might be in the smoke screen, but he's been focusing on that Yamato. He fired some torpedoes at him earlier. So we're really just trying to get the Yamato down in his health here. Now there are enemy teams taking shots at Shimakaze. So I'm not sure if he is actually detected or not. So as long as our team survives right now and doesn't throw, we don't lose anyone, we should be okay here. Now, Shimakaze is apparently detected. He's playing near a CV, and so he's gone down to Yamato secondary. So now we are about a 20 points difference. So that's put some pressure on us to try to get a kill in here. Try to get some points advantage. Remember, we lost a lot of points that we had earlier when this lava was on our cap. So that's playing to our disadvantage right now. I'm also trying to just ease my time coming back in here and getting shots over the island, which now we're beginning to miss out on that. Other things about Stalingrad. I mean, if I was going to recommend you to pick up a steel ship in the armory, I'd say Stalingrad first and foremost. She's the oldest steel ship in armory. If your Wargaming was going to yoink a steel ship, first and foremost, I'd say it'd probably be Stalingrad, definitely before Bourgogne. Stalingrad and Bourgogne are both fantastic steel ships of the 4 steel ships that I own. But Stalingrad is just really straightforward to play and really comfortable, and I think quite welcoming to newer players in the game once they do get steel. Now we've lost our submarine, so now enemy team has a almost 45, maybe a little more points lead. Now we do get defensive fire. The defensive fire here on Stalingrad is a bit different than most. Most defensive AAs are 40-second action time. Here on Stalingrad, it's a 60-second action time, but it has a longer cooldown time. So a bit of a trade-off. So honestly, you normally never have your AA fully going for 60 seconds. So I would prefer having 40 seconds action time and then shorter cooldown time. Now, one of the big plays here that was going to help us is if we get rid of this Havarask. Right, as a destroyer, he's been a bit of a pain for our team, and he's at the best concealment. Of course, we still have RCV to get some detection on him, but it'd just be in general be better if we can get him out. Now we have a battleship on the 8 line who's being focused right now. We've been detected, so that means that Havarask is probably somewhere out in front of us. I'm debating, do I save my guns for Yamato, or do I try to, maybe this Havarask is just within my radar range, which he is. Now he kills the throttle, he turns out there, so he is a self-aware destroyer player, so really good for him. The Russian radar you get on Stalingrad, basically you get about 2 salvos off by the time the radar goes down. It's 12 kilometers, right? Which is great. But with your longer reload time here on Stalingrad, it's going to take some time. Now you see I have top grade gunners, anything that's detected within my standard detectability range, we will get the kill on. Now unfortunately the enemy Bourgogne takes out our Conqueror, so that has flipped the points again. And we have a minute 18 on the clock. And this Havarask is a smoke Havarask. On Havarask you either choose smoke or heal. So I know this Havarask does not have a heal. So what health pool he has left is all that he gets. So now there's pressure on us. Enemy CVs on J-line. We have this Havarask here in the smoke somewhere. So that we switch to high explosive and we try for some blind fire shots. Our radar is not going to come back down off cooldown, so I'm just letting team know in chat, like, you know, I can't just blow my radar on him. I don't have it. 40 seconds on the clock. We need a kill. And, you know, unfortunately by the end, you know, yeah, I could see if we lose, this is indeed a great throw, pretty good throw on our team's part. With the division having to carry a lot and myself trying to take a lot of the focus earlier. Now, we see the Havarask fire. We've been waiting for him to do that. Shells look okay. We get the kill. But points flip back into our favor, right? So yes, it is a great throw. So we did get compliments there. So we saved the game in the dying seconds of the match. And just feeling the Soviet bias of Stalingrad come through just felt really good in this moment. And this is just another example in this battle of why I like Stalingrad so much, and I think she's the first steel ship that anyone should pick up, especially if you're new into the game. So 1.1 million credits, Dreadnought, only 117,000 damage. We did pick up 4 of the kills though. A couple planes shot down, some secondary action in there as well. So you will regularly get dreadnoughts in Stalingrad, especially when you use a unique commander on her as well. I'll talk about him in just a moment. But we land third on the team, so you can see the TNG division really did a lot of work. Not a lot too far in terms of base XP difference. Here you can see we landed with the 3.14 million potential damage. Armor piercing was our main damage. You know, we did get almost 20,000 with the high explosive shells, and some minor damage to enemy aircraft. And with premium account and having the premium ship that Stalingrad is, this is what you see all said and done with the premium account. So, because Stalingrad is a premium cruiser in the game, premium ship in the game, that means you can easily put Kuznetsov, Nikolai Kuznetsov, who has some unique talents and has one enhanced skill, being her the consumable specialist, which I don't actually use here on Stalingrad. It's more the talents is what makes Kuznetsov such an OP player when you pair him with Stalingrad. So I hope you enjoyed this very close, sweaty carry battle, as I know I did. I enjoyed it a lot, and I hope you did as well. We have a Q&A coming up on Thursday, so if you have some questions for me, let me know down in the comments below or in the designated channel on the FLT Discord server for the Q&A. If you want to have some questions about the game of World of Warships, or maybe you want to get to know me a little bit more. So if you liked this video, go thumbs up. If you didn't, go thumbs down. Subscribe if you do want to see more. If you have subscribed, thanks so much. I really appreciate it, and we'll catch you next time. Take care.